Joined now by Andrew Friedman, President of Baseball Operations for the Los Angeles Dodgers, entering your 10th season as the primary decision maker in LA, which is hard to believe. Time is flying by. I want to discuss first and foremost the departure of Trea Turner. I don't know how much you guys were in on keeping Trea there. What can you tell me about the conversations and then where do you pivot as far as that position is concerned?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Trea is an incredibly dynamic player. He was in the middle of so much for us over the last year and a half. But, we knew, that they had a strong preference for the East Coast, which we understand. There are a lot of times that we benefit from it the other way, where players want to be on the West Coast. And so we knew that was a challenge. But I do feel like he really meshed with our group this year, really loved the clubhouse and all that LA has to offer. That being said, I think the East Coast was a strong draw for him. But throughout the year, we talked to his agents, and they had a pretty good feel for where we were. We had a pretty good feel for where they were. But we knew that this was probably a likely outcome. But obviously, the Phillies are adding a very dynamic player that's really fun to watch play the game. And for us, I think, there are still a lot of good players on the market. And, deciding how we're going to allocate and pivot, I think, is part of the art of the offseason, and I'm not sure where that's going to lead us right now. But we do have some versatility and flexibility that allows us to look at different spots. But we feel good about the group we have right now. That being said, we need to add some talent to it as well.
Does that mean you are actively pursuing one of the three elite shortstops still on the market, or is Gavin Lux a probability of being your opening day shortstop?
I mean, I think right now we're actively trying to add good players, and where that leads us and how, we're not sure yet. As far as Gavin goes, there's no question in our mind he's going to be a big part of what we do in 2023. Exactly where he's standing on the dirt remains to be seen.
Where on the infield?
But, last year we were really encouraged with Gavin and just the growth and, with a young, talented player, to watch him get better year after year after year is exactly what you're looking for. Obviously, shortstop's his natural position. That being said, he's taken to second pretty well as well. So we have some options. The analogy I gave yesterday is last year we had a first baseman in Max Muncy. Because he was able to play second and third, it allowed us to get into the market for Freddie. And so having that flexibility is something that's really important to us.
Yeah, first base you don't have to worry about for the foreseeable future. Is Mookie Betts your right fielder, or is Mookie moving to second, Aaron Judge goes to right?
I mean, I'd be hard-pressed to take the greatest right fielder I've ever seen and move him on the dirt. I think the ability to kick in and do that just adds to Mookie's value. That being said, I think he's the best right fielder on planet Earth. It's hard to take that guy and move it permanently.
Are you guys kicking the tires or have had decent conversations, legitimate conversations with Aaron Judge's camp?
It's hard for me to get into specifics. I think, obviously we are very drawn to top high-end talent. That being said, I think positional fits, where guys play on the diamond, who we have, what that kind of runway talent looks like for us always factors in. But obviously really good player, but feels like, sit back and watch what happens.
Yeah, all right. Are JT and Cody Bellinger back in a Dodgers uniform?
That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that, I guess is the easy way to say it. Both guys are kind of actively searching through their market, and we're having ongoing conversations. We have to be prepared on a lot of different fronts, and how exactly that plays out, we don't know. I mean, it's the challenge of the off season. Things never go in the order you want them to go in,
of course.
And so you just have to be prepared along a lot of different fronts. And for us, that includes having some really good players who are out there in the market that we'd like to bring back. But in certain instances, that may not happen, and I think there's good options out there as well.
It'd be difficult to not imagine Justin Turner in a Dodgers uniform. It'd be also very difficult to imagine Clayton Kershaw not in a Dodgers uniform. You don't have to do that, at least for 2023. Why did it make sense for that 1 year, $20 million deal for Kersh?
I mean, first and foremost, he's really good, and he
He's
helps us
still
win
very
baseball.
good. Yes,
he's still really
very
good. I almost feel like he's a little bit underrated right now with how good he's
Isn't that
been.
funny?
It is funny, and I think so. First and foremost, he helps us win games. I think what he and Ellen mean, as you well know, to the Los Angeles community. I just think all's better in the world when Clayton Kershaw is wearing Dodger blue, and so it was a priority for us. Pretty early on in the offseason, he and Ellen had some real clarity that they wanted to come back. And so, for us, leaving the legacy part aside for a moment, we were able to add one of the top pitchers on the market. And, then you layer in the legacy part, and it makes it a no-brainer.
Is he pitching for you or for Team USA in the WBC?
I don't know yet. He was going to get with Mark Pryor and really talk through kind of his progression. I think it would be a great honor to do it, and I think it is something that he's really weighing. I also know his number one priority is to help us win a World Series, so I think he's going to go through it with Mark and get a feel for where he would be on his progression and how that kind of lines up. But a lot to be decided there.
Is your rotation enough? You don't have Walker Buehler for the upcoming season. Obviously, you have Kersh, Julio Urias, a Cy Young Award candidate. Dustin May is healthy, no Rains. Is that enough?
We feel really good about the 4 we have. That being said, we'd like to add another. And if we're able to, we're going to be aggressive to do so. If not, we just may have to reach into the depth that we've built up a little earlier than we would like, with Bobby Miller, Ryan Pepio, Gavin Stone, Michael Grove. Those guys are going to help us win baseball games in 2023. The question is when. And ideally, we're able to, add to that depth and that group to help us navigate a long season. But we're not sure yet exactly how things will play out.
Who's your closer?
Not sure yet. I mean, I think we have a really talented pen, and we traded for Craig Kimbrell near the end of spring training. I mean, things are so fluid all the time. We feel good about our pen. We feel like there's real length and different looks. And then whether Doc and Mark want to anoint one guy, if so, obviously Evan Phillips was great last year. Daniel Hudson has the experience and was great. Or whether play it by matchups and figure out, depending on game situations, etc. We have to figure out what our personnel is first before I think going down that road. But we do feel really good about the depth of our pen. I think it's a real strength for us with the number of guys who emerged last year. So exactly what roles and how that plays out, I don't know yet.
I probably should have asked you this first, Andrew. 111 wins in the regular season. You lose to the Padres in the first round. It shocked me. Was there a shock factor for you guys too?
I don't know if shock is the right word. Tremendous disappointment. I think in this, you come to expect the unexpected, especially in October baseball. So shock, I don't think, captures it. But extreme disappointment. I felt like we were extremely talented team that was really strong in every aspect. And, we led baseball with runners in scoring position during the year, and we didn't in those 4 games. And, it was disappointing. I think just the group as a whole, not only really talented, but also the way they prepared, went about it, was a really special group. And unfortunately, it ended way too prematurely in our minds.
Way earlier than a lot of people would have expected. Andrew Friedman, President of Baseball Operations for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Thank you so much for, as always, taking the time to be with us. We appreciate it.
Of course. Thanks for having me on.
All right.